open seat, given the number of, it used to be the rule of thumb was that you had to have a district that was 38% Republican to be able to elect someone to an open seat. That's dropped to 30%, and the reason for that is that there's so many independents now, they split, 50-50. So you don't need to have the same percentage of Republicans that you used to. Nevertheless, we only have 2 districts out of roughly 30 that were drawn for the Bay Area that are over 30% Republican.
Which are those?
Well, they're again the Senate district east of the East Bay Hills and the Assembly district east of the East Bay Hills.
And there's one more, Chris.
Another 30?
The congressional district from Antioch East.
Oh, that is correct.
King County.
Yeah, the Antioch. No, we don't count that, but I do count the Garamendi seat. Is that the one I'm talking about?
The McNerney seat. The McNerney seat. District 9.
Oh, okay.
36% Republican.
But the problem is that the Bay Area is only about 20% of that, so in all likelihood it won't be someone from the Bay Area that's elected. The handout that I gave you is thanks to Louise Mueller, and he did a good job, used the same methodology that I use. Meridian Pacific is a Republican consulting firm out of Sacramento. And what they did is they did instant analysis. I don't know how they did it, but they had this program that they spent probably 3 months preparing. But as soon as they saw the maps and they had the equivalency files, they were able to crank out the statistics. I'll walk you through it briefly. In this column is the total number of districts that there are. So there's 80 Assembly, 40 Senate, and 53 congressional districts. Currently, we have 28 of the 80 are Republican-held seats, 15 of the 40 Senate districts, and 19 of the 53 congressional districts. Cooley, as you know, nearly got elected as Attorney General, with roughly 45% of the vote. Cooley actually did very well in a number of these districts. So 35 of the Assembly districts out of 80, Cooley carried under the new redistricting. Likewise, 20 of the Senate seats, half of it, he carried. 28 of 53 congressional districts, the majority, Cooley carried. So that is our potential. In a good year, open seats, everything else being equal, good candidates, good campaigns, we could actually take back the congressional delegation under this plan. That's the good news. The bad news is look at Whitman's totals. In other words, Whitman did slightly worse than Fiorina and significantly worse than Cooley. If it's an average year for Republicans, in all likelihood, whatever the Whitman totals are is what we're going to end up. Now, the good news on that is we need to hold 27 seats in the Assembly to be able to block the Democrats' tax increases. We would have 27 seats in the Assembly. We wouldn't in the Senate, but that won't happen for 4 years because they're staggered terms. But the thing is that we can still block tax increases under this redistricting plan, just barely. But that's, as I said, everything else is being equal. I want to put out a cautionary note to everyone in this room. As I said, we dropped 10 points from 31%, 11 points to 20% in the Bay Area in 20 years. We dropped from 39 to 31% statewide. If those trends continue, it doesn't make any difference how you draw the lines. You're not going to elect Republicans, so it's really incumbent on us to, one, make sure we register as many Republicans as we possibly can, and keep people in the party, not have party splits. We are really good at doing circular firing squads, and that's not smart. Number 2 is because the number of independents in the last 20 years have doubled, we need to look at the party as reaching out not only to Republicans, but reaching out to independents, IDing those, identifying those that will tend to vote Republican, and then educating them and getting them out to vote. By doing this two-pronged approach, we can win. That's assuming that you have good candidates, you have good campaigns, good financing, and everything else. Now, one final thing. I must tell you that I was very frustrated by what they did in San Francisco. We had one victory in San Francisco, and that was we created one Senate district. Basically, Marin County and Sonoma didn't want us, and we didn't want them. So they drew the Senate line at the Golden Gate. Now, not to be unpatriotic as a San Franciscan, I would say good, because it means we don't have two liberal Democrats in the state Senate from San Francisco. We only have one. And that is one better than we had before.
And the one south is really a conservative. The Democrat, Jerry Hill's fairly conservative.
That's right. Now, the thing that I didn't like was that the redistricting masters, the court, 20 years ago, split this city north-south into two districts. And they actually, they created, the Senate districts were combined or whatever. Same lines. Well, what they've done this time is they've really changed it radically so that a lot of the more conservative working class people are being moved into District 13, and all Pacific Heights and the Marina are being put into District, what is District 12 currently, but will be District 19. Now, I don't think that the people in Pacific Heights and the Marina have a lot in common with the people in Serramonte. That's what they did to us. I mean, they were all obsessed about, okay, we're going to have a district that runs down the coast from Oregon all the way down to the Golden Gate for Congress and for the Senate, because we got to protect the coast. Likewise, they rejected our plan on the basis that we didn't unify the Monterey Bay area into one district. We divided it. And, so they're great environmentalists. They also created this one district that runs from the Palos Verdes Peninsula all the way to Ventura County along the coast. I'll tell you, Palos Verdes and Malibu are about as far away politically as you can get. Your Hollywood crowd and basically your gated communities on the other end. So they're great environmentalists when it came to the coast, but when it came to San Francisco, it meant that they didn't keep the bay intact, they divided the bay at Van Ness. So people who live east of Van Ness are in one district, people who live west of Van Ness are in another district, and there's a lot of hypocrisy in the process. I will say that by chance, by hook or crook, we came out relatively unscathed in this process, but it was not an ideal process. It needs to be reformed and changed. And I'll leave it up to Carol and the rest to talk about that.